Pre-season over for the grumpy old men. We're firing headlong into the new season in the company of Viv Anderson, Tony Woodcock and Peter Reid. Viv, Reidy and Tony firing again at the start of the new season. We've got to start though with Everton at home at their brand new stadium. Reidy, you were there, weren't you?
I was, gentlemen, and it was absolutely terrific. Terrific. The atmosphere was great. Thought we rode our luck a wee bit, if I'm honest. They had a couple of chances, but it was meant to be on a great occasion. And when you get the pleasure of going to the Hill Dickinson Stadium, I'm sure you'll love it. It is absolutely amazing experience.
You played as well, didn't you? There was a Legends game. Well, there you go.
Cheers.
There you go. Cheers. You played as well, didn't you? Wasn't there a Legends game in the run-up to it?
Yeah, obviously Roma come over in the friendly before the season started, and there was a game afterwards where former players of both clubs got involved, and I nicked 7 minutes on the hallowed turf, and it was brilliant. And I never give the ball away. Story of my life.
I mean, you couldn't walk for 3 days afterwards.
Well, it took some oiling to get the joints going again, but you know me, Viv. I get there in the end. I mean, there's been a lot documented about getting into the place, the congestion because of where it's situated on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey, as you know, Rob. But it was an experience, and I think the fans embraced it. They got there early outside the stadium. It was terrific, you know. And just the general atmosphere and the it was like we're all sorry to leave Goodison Park, but when you get to this new stadium, it's just iconic, and the atmosphere around the stadium with the Evertonians was terrific. And to be fair, Brighton fans, they sold their end out, and they were terrific as well. It was just, I read something today. It was the 5th highest decibel sound or something that's ever been recorded in a football stadium, and that's the fair. Could you imagine a derby game? Jesus, tonight it'll be absolutely unbelievable as long as we win, like.
I thought Jack was brilliant, by the way.
Oh, Viv, he was. Oh, Viv. I'll tell you what. A lot's been said and it's about Jack Grealish. I tell you what, he don't half handle of football, and his ability is unquestionable. But you know what? His body strength's fantastic. His body strength, and he was the best player on the pitch, and the ovation he got when David Moyes substituted, it was quite emotional, really. Every Evertonian stood up and cheered him off. It was brilliant, and he deserved it because he was brilliant. I mean, the keeper made a couple of great saves as well to keep us in the game. Welbeck missed a great chance, so it was one of them. It was meant to be.
Well, one of the key takeaways for the early stages of the Premier League season is the youngsters, Max Damon, 15-year-old.
So these young lads are making their debuts at 15 and 16. I was cleaning boots, washing out toilets, mopping floors. It was, I'll tell you what, that apprenticeship. But it give you know, I remember knocking on the first team dressing room door, panicking till someone said enter, and going in there, and you would, and they absolutely battered you. And obviously you had to do the song in front of all the lads. Mine was Band of Gold, Free the Pain, Since You've Been Gone. I'll never ever forget that. And they're throwing pumps at you, water at you, Christ almighty. You couldn't do it nowadays. Oh. You'd be done for bullying nowadays with that as out.
Absolutely.
It didn't half get you in there though, to be fair. You know, you felt at home after you'd done it.
We never did initiation, did we, Woody?
No songs, but knocking on the first team door to be allowed into the first team changing room. I remember that, and I used to cleaned Tommy Gemmell's boots. And I cleaned them up well. And you have to go knock on the door. He says, come in. And he picks them up and looks at them and throws them on the floor and get these effing boots clean, effing properly. I go back out the room, go in the boot room, have a look at them. I said, I can't make them any better, right? Left it 10 minutes, walked back in, took them on. He said, that's better, son. Make sure they're like this all the time. Off I go. So I met Tom. He was in Dubai, he was with the Lisbon Lions. And I went over chatting to him, and a great bunch of guys they were. I said, Tom, can you remember I used to clean your boots? And I told him the story I've just said. He says, I told that story as well, son. High praise indeed.
Really? I'm not trying to top you, but I had the pleasure of cleaning Roger Hunt's World Cup winners' boots when he was at Bolton. So I was made up. But it took me the courage. I went to... You found it difficult to speak to. He was an icon. So I plucked up courage and said, Roger, can I ask you what's it like to win a league, an FA Cup and a World Cup? And he said, I was in a good team. And honest to God, about 30 years later, I'm at a dinner and I get a tap on the shoulder. I turn around and it's Roger Hunt, and he goes to me, can I ask you, Peter, what it's like to win an FA Cup and a league champion? I went, I can't believe you remembered that, Roger. He went, never. And honest to God, it was made up. It was one of the nicest things that's ever happened to me. Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. Lovely.
Brilliant.
Such a good... Hey, won the World Cup. Such a humble and wonderful person he was. Brilliant. And he was a Bolton Wanderers fan as well. He was from Culture. And the other Bolton Wanderers fan, Alan Ball, every time I met Bally, he said, I'm dead jealous of you. And I go, what are you on about? He said, you played for my team. And then he'd rhyme off the 1958 Cup winning side about Man United, Hopkinson, Artle, Barris, Higgins. It was a mad Bolton fan. Brilliant it was.
Brilliant.
What about your debuts? Were you nervous? Can you remember how you were feeling at the age of, 16, 17?
I remember mine. I was sub against Orient, but do you know what I remember? I remember being in Burnham Park and Ian Greaves was the manager. And all the lads were lined up. And he opened a bottle of Bell's whiskey and he took a mouthful and went, all the best. And he gave it to the skipper, Roy Greaves, and he had a drink. And I seen this bottle of whiskey come down line and I thought, I'm going to have to drink this here. And everyone took a twig and said, all the best, team spirit. And then it come to me and I took a drink. Obviously, the last one, eyes watering, running the toilet and spat it out all. And we did that before every game till he knocked it into touch. But that was a tradition at Bolton when I first played. So I bet you these 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds don't do that nowadays, eh?
I think Cluffy used to protect us. Anyone wanted to do an interview, it had to go with the manager and he had to give it the okay or not. I think I may have told you this in a previous episode, but I did one interview and he wasn't there. He was in Mallorca. And I can remember the journalist saying, well, how did you get on with him? I said, well, not very well in the early days. He said, well, did you hate him? I said, no, I didn't hate him. No, but I didn't get on well with him. So this story comes up. We're playing at Chelsea and we picked Cluffy up on the way into London. And he's got the paper. He said, I'm sitting on the beach in Mallorca and I'm reading this article about you. And it says, you hated me. He said, that's going to cost you, young man. This was on the bus before the game at Chelsea, right? Yeah. But it was a look in to say that, make sure whatever you say to the journalists that they're actually going to put that down on the paper and not change it round, right? So,
am I dreaming? Or do you remember, lads, I remember going to some warm weather training in Torremolinos in Spain when I was a young lad, and I'm sure Forrest were there as well. I'm sure Cluffy took you there as well. And when all the reporters were made up because they could come out and they had a jolly up. But can you remember that? Can you remember that being over there? Because I'm sure Forrest were there when I was at Bolton.
We were always in them sort of Torremolinos. We were always there.
I remember that now. I remember us training on the beach and you were training further up.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that, really. Yeah. He loved his trips away. I think we went away 13 times in a season. he used to get the local referee and get the groundsman to water the pitch And he says, go to the referee, can't play on this, can we? And the referee would say, you've got to cancel it. We'd be on the plane the next day.
Oh, brilliant. I
Well,
can
it
remember
was great.
this.
You're turning up for training, he'd say, right, go and get your passports. We're leaving this afternoon.
Yeah.
For Viv and myself, the young lads, we thought it was great, but the married ones, they go, oh my God, we're going to get it when we go back. Yeah. He'd say, around the Christmas period, he says, I don't want you at home, putting the Christmas tree up, getting presents, getting stressed. We're going away again, yeah. And it was all the time. It was brilliant for us. And he used to say, we played Man United, that famous game at United, we beat them 4-0. And all the wives and girlfriends were in Manchester with us. The next day, we flew to Mallorca. And he says to us, right, you're in this hotel, I'm in this one. I'll see you Thursday. Don't get in trouble with the police. I don't want to see any trouble. See you Thursday for training. So that's Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. We're all by ourselves, having a good time. A little bit of a training session, which was a walk on the beach Thursday. Back Friday, played Liverpool on the Saturday.
Yeah. Got beat 6-0.
No, we didn't. I think we beat them as well. It's might have been 1-1, I think.
Yeah.
I remember Ian Greaves and Cloughie having a glass of wine together, and I thought, wow, how iconic. They liked the social managers. I think it was released for them as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was really clever with the players, though. He'd send the wives flowers and stuff like that. I'm taking the lads away, but here's some flowers for you. So he'd look after the wives as well. He wasn't daft.
Yeah. We appreciate all your comments and all your thoughts, and thanks for getting involved in the Grumpy Old Men Football Show. Our producer extraordinaire, John Warrington, has been dealing with millions of your comments directed at the lads. John, what have you got?
Bit of hyperbole there, Robert, young man. But listen, thanks to everybody who has been watching the show. We've had over 100,000 views since the start of the summer. And we're getting a lot of comments now as well. So we're going to start with Shelley. Message for you from Shelley, Reidy. She says she loves you and you were her teenage hero.
Oh, Christ.
And there's someone with the name Bread Manted. They all use funny usernames, people on YouTube. Fantastic to see Peter playing at the New Hill Dicko. And something from Vorderman, who thinks that Jack Grealish will thrive at Everton, but says the expectation placed on him at Manchester City put him under too much pressure. Any thoughts there, Reidy?
I think Jack's been at it. I mean, Jack's won the numerous trophies at Manchester City, so I don't think it's a problem when you've played in the amount of big games. I think it's part of a top player's profile to handle that pressure. And Jack, I don't think it's a problem for him. Playing at the new stadium was an honour, brilliant for me. And I'd like to thank all of you for your kind messages. That's very, very nice of you. Thank you very much.
And a final one for you, really, from Don Rickles. If you remember a few weeks ago, we were doing a lookalikey, and he says you remind him of Jack Regan from the Sweeney.
Oh, that's a new one. That's a new one on me. That Sid James, Norman Wisdom. I'm having them. I'm not sure about the Sweeney. I'll take Daniel Craig as well. I know you'll laugh, but I'll take that one as well.
All right. So in the last show, we were talking about Alexander Isak. Tony, Steve Mac 63 agrees with you. He thinks the owners should keep him out of the squad, but he suggests that he should be benched for the next 3 years and rot away in the reserves during that period.
As I said before, contracts are there to be honoured from both sides. Now, I've read, I think Thierry Henry came out and said that he understands him and maybe best for everyone if he moves on. I tend to disagree with that when a player signs a long contract and he's still under contract, just now to say, I want to move and go somewhere else, he should have thought about that when the time came to sign a longer contract. So I'm against that, and he said something about players that when they're not wanted, they're discarded. You're quite right, but they're still paid. They've still got to viable contract that's working. So, I am for, he wants to move, we do, but the club said no, he's got a contract. You put down tools or not? No, you don't. He's got to go out there. All those people who pay the money to give him his contract that he's got, and I'm sure he's on a good contract at Newcastle. He needs to get his boots on, start training, and start playing for Newcastle again. Yeah, and I would like to think that the Saudis are going to keep on with that, because once one does it, and it's been done in the past, everyone's going to. It's not a good example for players coming up as well, and younger players. That's my opinion as well, right? You sign a contract, you honour the contract.
And somebody with the name Fargo Deville, I think that's how you pronounce it, he says he loves the show because there are two proper Forest legends in Viv and Tony. A message from Stephen Fleming, who sent this the day before the season started. You're going to have to laugh at this one. I fancy West Ham for the title as I do every season. Sorry, mate, that's not going to happen. And finally, we have somebody who's been taking a pop at some mullets. Rob, apparently you look like Chris Waddle. I bet you wish you could play like Chris Waddle.
Diamond lights, that's all I'm saying.
Oh, good answer.
And Tony, one for you, and it's not who you think it is. He says you look like Audrey from Coronation Street.
Oh, well. I've had an association with Coronation Street for many years, right? Because the lads used to call me Albert at one stage, because in training and on the game, again, as we said, yeah, if you didn't get the right pass or put me in at the right moment, I'd turn around and have a moan at them. Right, so they followed me through with that. So I was saying on Saturday, watching the new Arsenal centre forward, if I was in that position and he keeps showing and he's moving and not one player's looking to play him in, I would have been going mad. I would have been saying, get your head up, look to play me in. So they see that, all defenders and midfield players saw that as me moaning the whole time, right? So the association with Coronation Street. I won't say thank you, but I'll take note. I'll take note.
Okay, listen, thank you for all your comments. Please keep them coming, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We've got some brilliant guests joining the show in the coming weeks, and you won't want to miss out on those. Rob, back to you.
I know Tony was at the Emirates for Arsenal against Leeds. How do people deal with the Arsenal corners?
Arsenal corners and free kicks. I do have to admit, the guy who keeps jumping out, the free kick specialist and everything, seems to be annoying quite a few people, because it's not rocket science, is it? You need a good delivery in. And I have to admit that Declan Rice is putting some really good free kicks and corner kicks in, and they're getting a running jump at it at the back. So it's not a rocket science, but this guy keeps coming out and pointing and shouting, even when the players have got the backs to them. So, but good luck to them. They're getting the goals from free kicks and stuff like that.
I know when we played, it was quite simple. It was you'd put the ball into the near post, they'd flick it on, and you'd just pile in and try and put the ball in the net. Now it takes about 3 days to work out who's going where, who's doing what, and everything else. So it was quite straightforward when we were playing. Flick on.
We had a routine. Yeah. We had a routine, everyone knew. And then in the final third, everyone knew. But free kicks anyway, it was just hand on and a quick free kick. Hands on, get it moving. Yeah. The gaffer used to say that. Hand on, get it moving. Keep that ball moving. Up at the top end, when we were attacking, we all knew whether it was Roy Greaves floating it in to Big Sam coming on, and Paul Jones, big centre halves. Frank Worthington, he could do anything he wanted because he was God. So we all knew what we were doing. Brilliant. Nowadays, oh, Christ almighty. You can go and get a cup of tea, come back, and you still haven't took it.
It's just the timing. It just takes too long. We wanted to get it moving quickly. What gets me as well is that they've got the routine on corners, but suddenly you can see there's a 2-on-1 situation, and they're not taking advantage of it. It's like, this is what we've been told to do. This is it. And then suddenly they're not defending it properly. They've sent one guy out instead of having two out there. And you think, just get it played 2 against 1 and move it around. Never happens. Never happens. But I just say, Kenny Burns at Forest, I can remember him saying to Cloughie, direct free kick, boss, what do I do? He says, shoot. He said, what about indirect free? He says, play it to the side and shoot. That was the only tactic he said at free kicks.
The best one I heard, sorry, Reidy, the best one I heard was Gordon McQueen. They were practicing free kicks at Man United, and they were doing free kicks after free kicks after free kicks. And Gordon turns to the manager, I think it might have been Dave Sexton, said, can we do that one, boss, where you throw it in the box and I had it in the net?
Yeah.
True story, yeah.
But the other thing, what about they're doing a corner or a free kick? By the way, they're all doing a tango in the box. They're pulling each other's shirt. Yeah. The referee comes in. What a load of bollocks all that is. I mean, some people aren't even looking at the ball defending.
Yeah, what about the lad at Fulham? Did you see him? He pulls the boy to the ground. I mean, he's not looking at the ball. He's just pulled him to the ground. You go, but what are you doing?
To be fair to him, Viv, you can give that every week. It's happening, isn't it?
Oh.
Every week they're dragging each other, and I'm thinking, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. We were taught, look at the ball, look at the man.
Yeah.
Get your position then. If he comes running, you run with him. You don't have to hold him and hug him and pull him to the ground.
Exactly. I agree with you, lads. Joke it is.
What about James Trafford, Manchester City's new signing, new goalkeeper? I mean, what about that ball he played to give the goal away against Spurs? You know, what do you make of all that?
There's 45 minutes gone. It's half time. Manage the game. You know, by the way, if you won down at half time, you've got a chance. Once he does that, it's virtually game over for me. So I just don't know. When I was a manager or on a player, it was always manage the game. Important times in the game, don't concede. 45 minutes, and you're doing that. Not for me.
Absolutely ridiculous. You talk about playing balls in, as you say, a minute before half time. You talk about before you go out. First 10 minutes are really important. Don't concede early on. Same in the second half. And it was just ridiculous what they do now, honestly. I know he encourages them to play. He's had all his goalkeepers have to play the ball. But there's times when you can do it and times when you don't.
We've got the Forest legends with us. What's going on at Forest with Nuno? It's all going so well, and then suddenly there seems to be a bit of a fallout with Mr. Marinakis. What's happening?
There's something rumbling in the back. We always keep thinking about last season when Marinakis run on the pitch and it so came out that it wasn't such a big thing, but that's still hanging around. As it said in the headlines in the paper, if you poke the bear, get ready for the consequences. So we'll have to wait and see what's happening.
Yeah, he's sending out a message, and he's an experienced coach. And I just think that was, hey, if you don't let me get on with the job, get rid of me. I think it was that blatant.
Yeah.
But he's spent money, really, though, hasn't he?
Right.
He's been given money, and he's bought some really good players. It's not as if the owner's gone, no, you're not having this, you're not having that. He's giving what he wants.
Well, yeah, but that's even more. Why has he come out with it? Where's he going with this?
Yeah.
He hasn't done it for the good of his health, or he's come out and said the statement was like virtually, sack me, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a question.
Tony, has Edu coming from Arsenal rattled up a little bit to be the new director of football?
Yes, I think Edu coming from Arsenal, that's caused a bit of a problem. I don't know how many clubs Mr. Marinakis has got. It's 2 or 3, I think. So there's a bigger picture here. Whether Nuno's been asked about or about players or whatever, it wouldn't surprise me if he hasn't. They've just gone and recruited, and he may be a little bit upset about that. He did say in the newspapers that he was getting regular contact with Marinakis, but that seems to have stopped, which he's come out with. So it looks like that Edu is the main man, for Marinakis and his, multiple clubs that he's got at the moment, right? Which I'm sure they'll be interacting with players over the next year or so. I think he's got a love for Brazilian players. He's seen how well they've done at Forest. And I think this is why they've got Edu in as well, right? So who knows what's happening behind closed doors, but it may be that you're in a position there that you're not feeling very, very well connected with the club, and you're just there to coach the team, and you may not feel like he might think he needs a little bit more responsibility in the club, Nuno, right? So it's, like I say, he's poking the bear. Let's see what happens.
Great stuff from the lads. We hope you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe for free to the Grumpy Old Men Football Show. And we'll see you soon. From all of us, bye-bye.